right.
guys.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Doing well. But just to be clear, Plutarch is the leader of this stream, not me.
Oh,
Do
so
I?
we need to
So by
reorganize.
convention of our, well, people look at the,
There you
oh,
go.
okay, now, I feel much better.
I learned how to do that.
All right. So I think today we're just going to dive straight in. I still have my 4 pages of notes on here, so we should probably just get going.
Well,
Anything you
let's
guys want to start with?
yeah, the foundation. Title of this stream is what is it? Something about sophists?
The new sophists.
The new sophists, part 2. Okay, and sophists is not a thing that people are really familiar with. Nick, who were the sophists? Sophists. And
Oh,
what's the common definition of a sophist?
okay. Sophistry. Have you ever heard that term? Comes from the sophists. The sophists were a people in ancient Greece that fought against people like Socrates, who wanted to use reason and logic. They wanted to use crafty words. They wanted to destroy their opponent, but not their argument by words. So they would use basically what would you come to know as logical fallacies in crafting their arguments, or rather their words of so-called wisdom. Hence, self comes from sophistry. Greek word root is wisdoms. So Sophia, but it's not wisdom. It's
So,
wisdom, so-called.
Could it also be if you don't like the message, you shoot the messenger?
Yeah, that's an ad hominem or poisoning the well. All that. Yeah.
Okay.
So the concept here of sophistry, and I like, Nick, the call out to logical fallacies. The point is that sophists did not care about the quality of the argument, only whether or not people liked what they were saying and agreed with it. So part of what we do here, and part of why we call this exposing the narrative, is because we use logic and reason to approach these, frankly, sometimes hysterically just terrible narratives that if you actually sat down and look at them, they completely fall apart. And that's kind of what we're going to do today. We're actually going to take a look at a narrative that is very common, very popular in the red pill space. And it is, and I'm actually going to show both sides of the narrative. You've got the red pill guys, and we're going to start with them today, but we're not going to spend too much time on them because there's this new movement called the anti-red pill. And I don't know that it's officially formed that, they call themselves that, but they do not agree with the red pill. And we're going to look at how they've constructed their narratives, what and how the the core point, is that they've actually ended up using the exact same argument. And
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's kind of how we arrived at the sophistry topic. A couple weeks ago, we put out a stream called What is the Red Pill? We gave our definition. And it seems like we got a lot of pushback on kind of against us, but not really against the ideas. They just don't like the red pill. So, yeah, we're here to discuss ideas. Now we're going to discuss, it's kind of a meta discussion about the reason they may not like the red pill ideas.
Right.
I'm probably not saying that very eloquently, so cut me a little bit of slack here, would you?
Come on, Boomer. You got a lot of years to be able to craft those words.
Well, I still have to think with his brain in the moment.
I don't know if he caught what I was trying to say.
He was calling you a sophist. Nick.
Hey,
Okay, Nick.
he likes to wind me up. I'm trying to wind him up a little bit today too. No, you're not a sophist. I'm just playing with you.
So the first thing I want to do actually is I want to play just a little clip that I believe this actually came out a couple days after we did our stream, and this is Dr. Orion Taraban. Many of you know him. He's been on whatever and a lot of popular podcasts. I think he was even on Fresh and Fit. And I think he describes pretty aptly where we stand on the red pill. So I'm just going to let this play for a little bit. Let me know if you can't hear it.
Which, I think you did a good explanation of this, but can you define again what the red pill is? Because I feel like there's so many definitions of it and there's a negative connotation around it.
It can be.
Yeah.
Like, my content has been described in that way. I don't have a problem with that per se. I think if you ask 5 people what the red pill means, you'll get 5 different answers. And I definitely don't think it's pejorative, though there are content creators in that space who can be very extreme. I wonder, though, to be honest, to what extent they actually believe some of the things that they say, if they're just doing it for views or
for sure. It's
exposure.
the second piece.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't met a lot of those folks personally, so I can't speak to it. To my mind, the red pill is understanding what works, how to actually attract women, and how to have harmonious, effortless relationships with them. It's not what you think should work. It's not potentially what you want to work. It's what actually works. And I think that you can think of the red pill as sort of like a practical set of strategies within a specific worldview that says, if you want this, this is how you can operate most effectively in this space. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And so why do you...
Okay. I think that's enough. I think that kind of gets to the point where we stand and the point we're trying to make.
I totally agree with what he said. It's men trying to figure shit out.
Yep. Swapping notes, saying, "Oh, this works, this doesn't work," and this may be how you feel or want it to work, but that's not reality.
Right.
Right. That I think is probably the most succinct definition. He took a minute and 20 seconds to do it, so congrats on him for that. So that kind of just establishes what the red pill actually is in its most basic form. It is a study of what works. And I think, when we were talking last week about the concept of praxeology versus ideology, I think Steve was right. I think there is a component of ideology in the original meaning of it. It is the study of ideas that work. And when you find an idea that doesn't work, you throw it away. When you find one that does, you keep it. And if you don't like what those ideas are, well, that's just, frankly, too bad. It doesn't. The facts, I'm going to quote Ben Shapiro here. Facts just don't care about your feelings on these facts. And which is ironic because Ben Shapiro is a guy who comes out here and tries to club the red pill for its facts.
Ology, okay, wordsmithing here. Ology is the study of. So ideology is an idea. It's a study of an idea. Okay, you don't like that idea. Come up with a different idea. And then you can have a debate about the facts and the logic, and through discussion, it could even get heated at times. We will figure it out, because every ideology needs to be tested. Every theory needs to be tested. I don't have a problem with that. I enjoy that.
the act of testing an idea, the act of putting it out there and seeing what other people say about it is, look, even if your idea sucks, the act of doing that is going to make your next idea better. So when I see guys who get angry at ideas anymore, I just kind of write them off and say, so you're not actually interested in learning, you're not actually interested in improving even yourself, much less the space of ideas in the world. Which probably means you're what we call an emotionalist or a sophist, because the sophists were not interested in improving ideas. They were interested in winning people over to their side of the argument by any means necessary.
So, say if you have a problem with something morally, then prove it morally. Give a logical reason why it's why. Don't just attack the people. Don't just attack the persons. Don't attack the argument. Attack the thing that's being put out there logically.
Yeah,
Exactly.
well, this analogy
Or
just came to mind.
inductively. Or inductively. You can also do that.
You got this huge wall of water that's held back by the dike, and it wants to seek equilibrium. But there's this little Dutch boy who comes out there and he sees, oh, there's a hole in the dike. And he puts his finger in there. I don't want this coming through. So is a sophist like the little Dutch boy?
He can be.
Yeah. If they just decide they don't like the idea that's bubbling up into their view, sure. So
You don't have to take my analogies, but I'm trying to take these highfalutin ideas, bring them down to a common level where people can say, oh yeah, I've seen that people do that. Okay, well, I mean, there's examples of this in everybody's life. So, you're going to have to make sense of it yourself.
yep. Well, as I said in last stream, we're not here to tell you what to think or how to think. We're just here to give you some things to think about. So, speaking of, I mentioned at the start that I'm actually going to start with the red pill, and we're going to flesh this out as we move through. But I'm actually going to read a little excerpt here. I'm going to have to zoom that in. There we go. So this paragraph right here causes, like, there's stuff in this article. This is an article by Rollo Tomassi. It's titled "Guys Who Don't F." Okay. This article has a lot of problems in it. It basically, and we've covered those before elsewhere many months ago. One of the major problems with it is that basically the definition of guys who do F ends up being completely arbitrary to the person observing, the other guy that they're passing judgment on. But there's a particular argument in here that is a specific flaw in, and this is actually a bit of a flaw in the way that some red pill men can think. And I want to see if you guys can catch it. When you watch the now famous AMOGing scene, and AMOG stands for Alpha Man of the Group, in The Wolf of Wall Street, where Leonardo DiCaprio swoops Margot Robbie from a trust fund yuppie, you're really watching the intersexual combat between a guy who Fs and a guy who doesn't. It's how human males lock horns over sexual access in rutting season. The only thing that a guy who doesn't F has in his arsenal is his cunning and nerve. So I'm very curious if anyone catches the problem with this with this particular setup.
Well, Steve and I know what it is.
Right.
We've discussed this before.
And-
Anybody in the audience know?
I think they're all they're all on Twitter right now, so they can't talk to us.
You know, it's equating the effing if you're a guy who has women, access to women, you're an alpha. Not
Okay.
necessarily true.
Well, there's an implied construct in here. And this implied construct is that Leo DiCaprio, being a guy who, oh, hey, look, we're far enough in the stream now, being a guy who fucks, as soon as he swoops in, Margot Robbie is, and he just takes her, right? It's as if she has no say in this whatsoever. Just the fact that Leo DiCaprio is the alpha of the group. He is the top dog, and he shows interest in her, and she has to leave the trust fund yuppie, and she has to go move in with Leo DiCaprio.
So this is something I'm going to take up again next Wednesday, in a sense, but in a different area. It's materialism is limited. Materialism makes one a slave to their biology, correct? In some, it
In
can make one a
some
slave to their biology.
respects,
Okay.
but what Rollo is really saying here is that Margot Robbie's character has no agency. She's a slave to her evo psych nature.
Mm-hmm.
She met the top dog, and she had to have the top dog, and there's nothing she could do about it. And so what he's saying is women have no agency. They are slaves to their psychology. And as long as you're the top dog in the room, you can have all the women. But we know from observational data that, here, I will take this away now. We know from observational data that women will tell the top dog in the room to politely fuck off for all sorts of reasons, including no reason at all. They just didn't want to talk to him right then. They were maybe he interrupted a conversation she was having with one of her girlfriends. Yeah, he's the top dog in the room, but she's just not interested in having a conversation right now. She just says, walk away, right? So the red pill, when it talks about male-female relationships, and I understand that why they talk about what men need to do. And I'm not saying that any of their prescriptions are wrong or ineffective. Some of them might be immoral, but none of them are quote unquote wrong. They'll work. They've been tested to work. But by trying to make this, but they have fallen into the trap of saying all you have to do are these things, and then she will automatically fall in love with you, for lack of a better term. They're trying to make a math equation out of women. As if
they're robots, as if
Right.
they're programmable robots, right?
Right. Oh, hi, Shu. Good to see you in the chat.
Just to bring back to the olden days of the manosphere, back in, when I was on the Doll Rock blogs, there was a fight about use of game. And there was a group of people who says, well, game is just stupid because then you'll just have to game her forever, 24/7, 365. And then it becomes dance, monkey, dance. In other words, you got to keep, okay, if you're going to use this technique to get a woman, get laid, whatever, and then you're a slave to the system because you got to keep doing that or she's gone.
Ad infinitum, basically.
Ad
So isn't that
absurdum.
yeah?
Adam,
And so isn't that the same kind of that same fear that women have no agency, so they have to be constantly gamed to keep them
Yes, it is.
with you or faithful.
That-
Just like red pill is bad because you're doing things, and no, I just want to believe that I can do all the Christian things that are be the nice guy. She will see how wonderful and nice I am and be committed. I will have a charmed life. And, she'll never leave me because I'm such an awesome Christian. I'm going to church. I'm providing. I'm trying to talk to her and lead her. And I'm a Christian and she's a Christian. Oh, there shouldn't be any problems, right, Nick?
well, there idealistically there still shouldn't be any problems, but look, sometimes like these people will stay married and live and die, pass on, never be divorced. It does happen. But especially in this day and age where they're rewarded for leaving and there's almost zero consequences for mate switching or monkey branching, however you want to call it. Yeah, it can destroy a man. And
Or
not
just
not not
plain
only not only is it
rebellion.
not only is what the man doing not biblical, but it's also kind of church enforced too, which is really despicable.
So the guys who practice Christianity, okay, we're Christians, so I don't mean it that way, but who practice piety, Puritanism, and exhibit their Christianity and all that, and think that's enough. It's kind of like that dance monkey dance theme, just like the guys who think they have to game their women 24/7 in order to keep her. The Christian guys, do they think if I'm Christian enough, I'm just Christian enough, if I just pray hard enough, if I'm just that perfect servant leader, my marriage will survive? Are
I
not
was
both of
actually
them making the
um
same error?
they are. I was actually I'll give you a little personal information there. I was told that by a few pastors in the OPC, and I think they meant well. They think if you do everything right, if you are a good, they're patriarchal too. So some of these guys are patriarchal. So I'll even go that far. They were like me, they're patriarchal, you know, but they firmly believe if I was doing everything right, she would automatically follow along. That was a promise of God. That's just not true. It may happen. It may be that they follow along, but
Well, Nick,
no.
you're saying that they're claiming it as a promise of God, and I believe that because I have watched men in the churches I grew up in do the same thing and say the same things. But is that actually a promise of God in the Bible?
No, no,
Oh,
not 100%. Generally, women do follow good leadership,
sure.
but we don't live in the same time period. We don't live in the same circumstances or environment. Now they're actually rewarded to leave you for that. And they think, how dare you suppress their journey to find themselves and be the strong, independent woman, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh,
So
interesting.
leadership is a best practice, but it doesn't guarantee that anyone's going to follow you.
No, it can't, because anytime you say to anybody, all you have to do is X, Y, and Z, and and this result will happen. You're setting them up for failure when inevitably that person that you're doing the XYZ formula to says, you know what, I'm tired of this, I'm done, I'm out. And it's I have watched men, particularly the hyper Christian men. You know, they are all in on what the church doctrine is about marriage. They are all in on, you know, what everything Nick was talking about. And these are the guys who are, in my experience, they come the closest to unaliving themselves, because for them, and by the way, they universally leave the church. These are the guys who they rage quit the church when they get the red pill suppository, because they were never told that you could do everything right, and a woman of her own agency and accord could still choose to leave.
It happens.
Let me make fun of Catholics here, because I'm the Catholic guy. It's like walking into a casino and telling God, well, you know, I'm going to play the slots. I'm just going to use one quarter. I'm going to do one pull. Do you know what? I love you so much, God. Before I do this, I'm going to say 3 Our Fathers, 10 Hail Marys, and 3 Glory Bees. And I'm going to put this coin in, and I'm going to hit it, and I'm going to hit the jackpot. It's okay. You're taking chance out of the picture.
Hey, no,
right?
you forgot
'Cause
the. Yeah, there
Cross
you go.
myself, turn around 3 times, whatever superstitions you want. Okay. Yeah, we can all laugh at this because it's obviously absurd. No one would
Absolutely.
think that. But even Catholics are not so stupid to think that. But they can probably laugh at it with me.
Right.
But you guys think if you're Christian enough, it's all going to work out. No.
Here we are.
Not,
Here we
okay,
are.
It might. Yes. Okay, if you're Catholic, should you be saying some Our Fathers and Hail Marys and Glory Bees and crossing yourself?
Oh, man.
Absolutely. Now, Nick is going to say, yeah, that's all baloney. But I'm trying to prove a point here. The point is, practice Christianity, but don't expect a certain outcome, because you do not have a right to that outcome.
And God does not explicitly promise you that outcome either. See, there's not, as Nick said, there's nothing in the Bible you can point to that says, oh yeah, do X, Y, Z, and this outcome will result because God said so. It's just not in there. Sorry, guys, like out there, everyone.
And I'll throw this on the other end. Let's think of this from a woman's perspective. So in like 1 Peter chapter 3 talks about winning their husband over by what? Talking a lot, beating them over the head with Christianity. You know, if their husband was an unbeliever, right? Nagging him to death.
Yeah, I'm not sure those are in there.
Demeanor?
Oh, win them over without their
Conduct?
words. Yeah, by their. Oh, but is it always guaranteed that that husband will always turn to Christ?
No.
No. No.
Okay.
Hey, there's this thing called free will that men have. Yeah, women have it too.
Well, this is the thing that, and for me personally, in my situation, and I've said this before on this stream, the church spent 6 weeks trying to figure out what I did wrong. Then my wife left me. Because the church could not accept that she had agency. That she just decided that she wanted to go play tonsil hockey with another dude, and that was going to be the new thing. It had to be my fault. And this view that the church has comes from all this preaching that it does about how if the man is just Christian enough and she will stick around. But I'm going to say this, Nick, and I'm going to say it so you don't have to.
Okay.
But this is actually, in my view, a defense mechanism for the church and the trap that it's fallen into, so that they do not have to criticize women. If they can just make it all about the men and what he didn't do, then they can say, well, yeah, she did that, but what did you do? You don't have to agree or disagree. I'm just throwing that out there as an idea for our church-based listeners to consider about
Yep.
the trap they might have built for themselves with this. It's not quite a logical fallacy. It's more of a
Autism.
Yeah.
There's a good reason for this. Kind of human nature. If you challenge a man, you say, well, he's kind of screwed up here. Let's go through your stuff. As long as a man is not emotional, he's a good friend. He's gonna think, yeah, maybe I'm gonna think about that for a while. But if you give the same message to a woman, oh man, she's not going to have any part of it. She's going to tell you why you're wrong in the minute. She's not giving any thought, and you're going to have a fight on your hand. Try telling a woman.
Fireworks.
Okay, if you tell a man that he's wrong, in most cases, at least 50-50, he may reflect on it. In virtually 100% cases, if you tell a woman she's wrong, she is not going to accept it. She will twist the argument.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and you are in for a lot of grief. So the pastor is up there, and the men are not going to, they'll take his message. Men, you are wrong about this, this, and this. And they'll just kind of forget about it and go their own way. If he gets up there and says, women, you're wrong about this, this, and this. Oh, man, is he going to hear about that?
Oh, yeah.
For the next 2-3 weeks?
Yeah.
And now, all of a sudden, the pastor is my enemy, and she will be trying to get him removed, and she will take offense, and that offense does not, it doesn't blow over. It does not blow over.
Hey, you're preaching to the choir.
This is just my observation. No, Nick is laughing a lot. Nick, what's your experience?
Oh, you nailed it right on the head, Steve. That happened to me. No, the women get upset. Maybe not all of them, but I could generally tell. I'd have one thing I said to the women, like, 3, sometimes 5 things I would say to the men. But they just could not get that out of their head. He really talks about women and feminism, and they need to repent, and they don't like that. So the elders come talk to me. Oh, I took offense, blah, blah, blah. Okay. All right. I hear you. Okay. Happens again. Happens again.
Okay.
Happens again.
So the moral of the story is you go into the bathroom right after your wife did her business. Don't come out and tell her that her shit stinks.
Oh, yeah. Well, again, there is a protected group of people in the church. And it's not the XY, it's with the 2 X's.
Now, to be fair, I didn't want this to turn into a long diatribe on the church, Although
Sure.
we went there, but you know, that's good because we are dealing with, because what comes next in this conversation is the anti-red pill. There has been, honestly, since the publishing of this article by Rollo, I do view this article as kind of a turning point um, in our timeline, if you will. And there has been a rush of people to condemn the red pill. And the argument they always use is, well, we find many of the descriptions of the red pill to be true and accurate. We're just not happy with the prescriptions. Well, that's not really quite true. If you ask them to parse it down, what they'll say is, oh, no, we like all the prescriptions about men getting physically fit. We like all the
The
prescriptions about...
descriptions. The descriptions. You misspoke there.
No. No, they think they're problem.
Those prescriptions. Okay,
Yeah,
never mind.
yeah. So their problem is not with all of the prescriptions of the red pill, really. It's with the ones that these Christian adjacent people find morally objectable. Okay. So, like if I were to tell men, and if I were to tell men, improve your fitness, improve your money, and yes, it's okay to learn how women work, those guys are like, yeah, you're right, you should probably do that. But notice how we're still focused on the men here. Yet telling men to improve, the anti-red pill has no problem with that. They have a very narrow problem with just these few morally objectionable prescriptions. The problem is that's the same argument that Rollo made. All you have to do to be better and to succeed with women is be better men, and then the women will want you. So the anti-red pill smuggles all this stuff in, and they say, yeah, you just don't do the promiscuous stuff. And look, here we broadly agree with that.
Yeah,
but
don't be promiscuous. Okay.
Right. Okay. So why then do these people come in? And I'm thinking about Jeremy Boring. I don't have the clip loaded up today because I have a clip from Tim Pool. But Jeremy Boring said basically what I just said. Like they want to come in, they want to destroy the red pill. They want it to be gone because they view it as harmful. But they agree with the descriptions, they say broadly. And we'll probably end up doing a whole other stream because Steve's been champing at the bit over here to talk about this. But they want to come in and say, well, we mostly agree with your descriptions, and we just don't like your prescriptions, but we like most of them. Okay, so what do we actually disagree on? So I want to pull this clip up, and I think it's the right clip here.
To get a bit more reductive, because while what you're saying is absolutely true, where does this come from? And I blame men. Weak men. Men are weak. Men continually grow weak. And an element of what's going on with the feminism, I'll mention a lot of what we're seeing is really, really bad, like no-fault divorce. Just basically meant marriage is over. It's like you're dating now. That's
Right.
it. You're dating with a special placard from the government, but you
Right.
can just leave at any moment. That's ridiculous.
Yes.
And these are bad things. However, all these guys that are watching these anti-women channel, like, I try not to be a dick to people who want to figure how to better their lives. Like, if I see a guy going to the gym, I'm going to tell, like, and he's fat and he's overweight or whatever, and he's struggling, I'm going to be like, bro, you got this. You know what I mean? So I see these guys who are watching these channels, and part of me is just like, that's stupid. But I'm not going to hate on a guy who's actively investigating. They may not understand completely, but they're like, why is this thing happening? But I'll just put it this way. Part of what we're seeing, it's actually good. You know why? Weak men will fail, and they deserve to fail. and I will mock their failure.
Well, what about Acolyte? Star Wars sucks. I mean, this does.
Don't watch it. And where are the strong men to lift the burdens and the heavy rocks to make good stuff? So here's what I'm saying. You got a bunch of guys that are sitting online, overweight. And again, I'm not making fun of everybody's overweight, saying everybody's overweight is a failure. I'm saying you've got guys who are not trying to better themselves, who are not trying to exercise, who are not cleaning the Cheetos off their mustache, who aren't.
Tim.
That's right. I'm looking at you, Alex. They're not wiping their armpits.
You know that I do eat a lot of Cheetos and stuff. Yes, Tim knows that. That is
what we're seeing right now is, for one, we can go back 100 years, 200 years and talk about suffrage, and it was weak men across the board who kept bending the knee and could not maintain social order. They just gave up. But I look at today and I'm like, well, look, it's interesting. Maybe what's happening needs to happen. This is natural selection.
Yeah.
A society has emerged because men became weaker and weaker. They could not provide for what women wanted, and they could not provide stability in social order. And now you have these fractured systems.
I'm actually going to stop it right there, but I think you get the point. Now, everyone knows that Tim Pool's kind of the most milquetoast fence sitter of all fence sitters. But notice how he goes after men. Just cannot. It's like it's all men's fault. It's all and he kind of gives this lip service to, yes, women occasionally do some things. It's like it's feminism and it's enough in the mainstream now that we have to acknowledge that women do things. But notice his entire construction is, if it wasn't for those damned weak men, we wouldn't be in this
Man bad.
right.
And women wouldn't even have the right to vote. They wouldn't have needed the right to vote if it wasn't for those weak men back in those early suffrage days that were so weak that they let women have it. But he didn't actually say this, but we kind of abusive if he had pushed them on that. No, women didn't have agency. And okay, here's the other thing. Guys, this health and wealth gospel at its core is, if I'm healthy and wealthy, obviously God is blessing me because I'm such a good Christian. And how do you know I'm such a good Christian? Because I'm healthy and wealthy. God loves me. So, the same thing. How do you know I'm such a great, strong man, not one of these weak men? Because my marriage is successful and I love women and my woman has not divorced me. Therefore, I'm such a better guy than you other weak men. You guys did something wrong, but not me.
Yeah,
not me.
man,
I
David
have
did
my
some-
wife.
David did something wrong for his wife to leave him, right? Saul's daughter. He wasn't
Clearly.
King David was not man enough that he took his wife away from him, stole his wife, and she went with another guy. Oh, but is she was she just a slave to Saul, or was she supposed? Oh, no, you can't say that, right?
Which one are you? No, that's not how I remember.
Does she not have agency? Oh, but wasn't she under her husband, David?
Oh, the
What
one
was
I
she under?
remember is this Michael? Michael or okay.
Yeah.
So he commanded her to come, and she defied him. And I don't know about those
Michal,
other
yeah.
things. I don't remember that. Michael.
Michal,
And so he didn't have relations with her until her death. That's the way the Bible says it. He did not give her the time of day or have sex with her until her death, which doesn't mean he did it on the day she died. It just means that was it, done. But did he do anything wrong? No, the Bible for that. David was a sinful man. he sinned in other ways. Okay, yeah, we can
That
get,
was
we
later,
can go
right?
into that. Not today, but this thing and her transgression and her disobedience and rebellion to him was not caused by him. And we have to assume that because if it was, the Bible would have told us, right, Nick?
Yeah.
Well, the Bible told us about his sin with Bathsheba. Like it made it.
Did do
Absolutely.
that.
So clearly, if the writers of the Bible had thought that David had sinned and caused her to do this, they would have written about it. So it turns out, folks, that a woman can choose to do something of her own accord and agency, and there's nothing the man could do to stop it. So I've actually got this little. This is just a little
And
clip
I
here.
blame men. Weak men. Men are weak. They could not provide for what women wanted, and they could not provide stability in social order. And then what we have now is I blame men. And
See, he just, and Tim Pool's position throughout this entire stream is basically that just little supercut that you saw there. Just I blame weak men, but there's another line he says in there. The men could not give the women what they want.
Could not
Oh,
provide what women
hey,
wanted. He wasn't a
can't
good
afford-
servant leader.
I can't
Correct.
afford the $500,000 house. I can't afford manicures, pedicures every week. I can't afford for their hair to get dyed every week or month, and I can't afford for this stupid Lexus and all. So hey, but it's man's fault. We can't afford what they want, really what they expect.
Yeah, well, yeah. Obviously, he's a weak man if he can't provide that stuff for her.
Clearly,
It's like
as-
men in all of history. Nobody, it's all their fault.
so as Shu says, righteous beyond compare, Job apparently not good enough for his faithless wife either. Modern churchianity's sewage. Yeah, pretty much. You know it, and so I think the point that I'm trying to make here is that when these anti-red pill people, like Tim Pool, like sorry about that, like the Daily Wire crowd, but also like well, the red pill has been kind of under attack these past few months, and it's been under attack primarily by men who are claiming that they have a problem with the morality of the red pill, but they're still preaching red pill and they're still making all of these moral claims as if their morality is somehow better when they cannot accept the agency of women. And so when a marriage falls apart, the only answer they have is, what did the man do? You know, your wife disobeys you. And the interesting thing about the anti-red pill specifically is because they don't have the sort of, honestly, because they don't have the sort of promiscuous answers to the female problem that the red pill does, because the red pill can just say, yeah, you just pump and dump them. Okay. The anti-red pill has created all of these standards. This is where you see things like servant leadership come up. That's a right. And these standards are and so the sort of immoral response, and that's how we classify it, of just be promiscuous, is a response to female agency. What the red pill is trying to say is that, look, women have agency, so you just take care of yourself and let the woman take care of herself. And if you both agree to have sex, then that's, agreement was reached. You do the thing and you walk away. Okay. But the anti-red pill doesn't have that. They don't have that. And so their version of that is, we're going to create all these standards, but these standards have to apply exclusively to men. Were you ripped enough? Were you rich enough? Were you roided enough? you know, did she disobey you? Well, clearly you didn't meet these standards. Did she cheat on you? Well, clearly you didn't
Clearly,
meet
you
these.
didn't meet these standards.
Right. Did she divorce you?
Because she's automatically going to follow if you're this perfect, ripped, rich, and whatever man and Christian. She's obviously going to follow you because women were created to be helpers and followers. So if you're man enough, she'll just follow. So, hey, Plutarch, can we touch base on how this relates back to the new Sophists? And then
Go for it.
continue on from there. No, I want you to do it.
Oh,
'cause
you want
I'm
me to
kinda
do it?
lost
Oh,
the
okay.
train here.
Well,
yeah.
Note how all of these arguments have the same formulation. Okay. They're all coming to the same conclusion. The anti-red pill and the red pill agree on everything, including that women have no agency. The only thing they disagree on is the morality of some of the prescriptions that one side or the other has chosen to adopt to work around this problem of female agency without actually solving without actually looking at the problem and saying we have a problem with women. And because of that, this has turned into an argument not about how to solve the problem, not about creating better ideas, not about using logic and reason and our frankly amazing human minds to sit here and go, what do we need to do to solve this? This has become a food fight over who has the biggest dick of morality. It's turned into a giant fucking dick measuring contest, just like the Sophists did. It's become an argument over who can make their argument better, not whose argument's right, because they're using the same argument.
Okay.
And that is the definition of sophistry at its very core. They're not trying to actually improve the situation. In fact, I would go so far.
So are you talking about the Christ pill guys?
Yes, I call the anti-red pill Christ pill light or Christ washed, because they agree with the observations. They agree with most of the prescriptions. They're just sitting here saying that some of these prescriptions are bad, and what we're going to offer up to you is you have to be this superlatively perfect man, and if you don't meet those standards, you've failed as a man. Which, by the way, is the Christ pill. That is like the definition of what those Christ pill guys are trying to sell. And
is that almost like a purple pill type, close to purple pill?
No, purple pills. Well, it is very close to purple pill. It's a purple pill adjacent. You could call the anti-red pill a Christ washed purple pill.
Okay.
They're taking because the purple pill does also believe that in that sort of prosperity gospel hustle culture, all you need to do is be the best man out there and you'll win. They just didn't have the sort of Christ stuff attached to it. So yeah, you could call the anti-red pill just Christ washed purple pill. That would be perfectly acceptable way to define it.
Interesting.
So it all comes back to, I mean, these guys, these anti-red pill guys, they're not even offering, like, while I disagree with the morality of being promiscuous, at least it is a solution. It does complete it does square the circle, so to speak. Saying all you have to be is a superlatively perfect man and she'll never leave, that's not a solution, because no man is perfect.
And what happens when something outside of your control happens to you?
Oh, you lose your
Say-
job?
Or your body, you get riddled with some sort of sickness in your body. You're not the
Cancer
way
happens.
you used to be. Yeah.
What do you do then? You cannot
Yeah.
be superlatively perfect anymore.
Yeah.
You can't be. Now what do you do? Well, according to both the red pill and the anti-red pill, she should leave. She has no agency. She's just following her what she's, her programming. She should leave you because you're no longer what she married. And now, the
And that
anti-red pill,
often happens.
yes, I agree, but they agree on everything, and they've decided to make the entire beef, if you will, over the morality of some of the prescriptions. And in doing so, it has completely sidelined any sort of actual movement forward on any of these
Yeah.
topics.
Okay. So they say, well, red pill is bad because it's manipulating women. Okay. If that's true, okay, I can agree with that. Red pill is bad because it promotes promiscuity. Okay. Yeah, I'm against promiscuity. But does red pill really promote manipulation? Okay, yeah, some people in there probably do that. I believe the core of the red pill is understanding.
Mhm.
The application is management. We all go to college to learn how to manage and learn about the thing we're going to do for a career, for a manager. We should learn about how to manage people, right? Gee, should you learn how to manage your wife? Oh, no, 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 no. Well, why the hell not? And
Okay.
yeah, okay. This going out, okay. This promiscuity, that's actually buying into the same thing. Women have no agency, therefore, they will not be faithful. Therefore, I can go do whatever I want with as many of these walking sex dolls as I want. Isn't that still denying agency?
I got a good analogy with this. You kind of picked up on the manipulation PUA type stuff. I'll give a good analogy. So I used to sell cars, so it's salesmanship. And women, this is a problem, is that a lot of times like Steve said, they argue about the prescriptions, but they don't know how to deal with the descriptors. They don't want to have to deal with them. And look, women generally are pretty emotional creatures. I'm not saying they can't be rational, but I'll give you a comparison. You give two salesmen. One salesman, he just logically describes everything what the car is, how it works, all the specs, does a thorough job. He says this is what the price is. He breaks it down and makes logical sense, right? It would for a guy, right? Or you have this another salesman. He can tell her the same facts, but he presents it in such a great way. He draws her in. He lets her drive it, experience the vehicle. He chats the lady up. He makes a personal connection with her. Same facts, perhaps same price. She buys it from the one salesman and not the other.
Look, and he withheld all the technical details of how awesome the engine was from this woman. And he just told her what a fun experience it was to drive it. Damn, what a manipulative salesman.
Look, she same. So it could be the same facts, and she drives off with the vehicle, or she could have some scumbag guy. Let's do it. Add a third person in, right? And just another lady, just another experience. She shopped around and she met this scumbag guy, promised her all these things that were true. It was all bullcrap, but she felt real good and she's smiling and happy, drove off with that vehicle. And then reality kicked in maybe the next day or a week later. Buyer's remorse.
Okay.
So it's not,
But n-
it's not. The problem is yeah, she's a dummy. She had agency, but she bought into her feelings. Okay, that's her fault. But the successful salesman who told her the truth and she had a good experience with, the other lady, that's like a Christian guy taking the red pill.
yeah. So this is just a little funny. Taylor Swift owns this car, sold at the ask. I mean, but yes, and it's funny and it's good for a chuckle, but it's also true. It's exactly what Nick is describing. The woman doesn't care about how many CCs are in the motor. She doesn't care. But you tell her that her favorite pop idol drives this car, and the car lot will be sold out of those cars in a few hours. And as the salesperson, you have to know that. Okay. Is it manipulative to do that? Yeah, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, what's manipulation and what's sales? You can never tell everybody everything about everything.
Yep.
To have a full, so they have all the information to make the most perfect decision. Nobody ever tells me everything about everything,
That is why these
and
guys,
nor do I want it.
yeah, but that's why these guys can't get it. Like they're mad at the red pill. Oh, I'm better than that, and then they can't figure out why they can't get any women.
Okay. Why?
I'm not saying you should go out and be promiscuous. I'm against that. I'm just saying, look,
So, at the core of this anti-red pill, what is the motivation of these guys? Because I have a theory. Okay, I'll
Well,
throw out my theory.
go ahead.
Every man wants to put in the work and then enjoy the fruits of his labor. I worked, I found the woman, I'm praying hard enough. I did the work, now I got her. Now I just need to go into maintenance mode. And as long as I keep maintenance mode, my life is going to be easy. But if you take the red pill, you have to recognize, no, okay, you got to do the work up front. You got to do the work here. And then you got to keep doing the work. And then there's no certainty that no matter how much work you do, that you're always going to have a positive outcome. So you can't just rest and assume that your wife or woman or whatever, that it's all going to work out. You can't just do all the work, get the woman, marry her, and you got that oath. Yep, till death do us part. I said my part. She's going to do her part. We're good. So to take the red pill and realize that women have agency, and they operate, their mind operates differently than a man. And yeah, right. In our modern world, there are no guarantees. No one is going to hold their feet to the fire. No, in fact, everyone's going to help her if she decides to divorce you. So you cannot be assured of anything. You have to stay aware of what's going on. You have to recognize that she has agency on the day you got married, today, and in the future. And there's no guarantees. So you have to stay aware. Man, can't I just take the blue pill and go back to my easy existence where I did all the right things and I don't have to worry about this shit. I don't have to pay attention to this, and I can just feel safe. I mean, you can see why the red pill is so scary, because it leads to guys who don't like it, don't want to realize that their life, current life, is not as secure as they want to fantasize that it is.
Well, so I have another theory on this. Looking through my notes here, a lot of notes, guys. And that theory is the reason that we see so many divorced men in this Christ-washed purple pill, anti-red pill, whatever you want to call it, is because if I can make the failure of the relationship about me, that means that it is now within my power and control to fix the problem such that it will not occur in the future. This isn't so much an argument about the agency of the woman. This is more of an argument about how the man, being the fixer mentality, needs to believe that if he's forced to accept that women have agency, then it means that there might be nothing he can fix or change in himself that would have fixed it. And I cannot think of anything that makes a man feel more emasculated and powerless than to know that there's absolutely nothing he could have done. And
I agree with that too. I mean, there's a lot of reasons that this perception, this anti-red pill, there's a lot of reasons to attack it. And it's the descriptors. Well, it's actually the implication of the descriptors.
mm-hmm.
And remember, correlations are not causality.
Yeah, we struggle with that as humans, don't we?
Yeah.
But so you've the reason that this purple pill stuff is so attractive is because it appears to offer you men out there an easy answer. Just be better. As long as you're the best man out there, she won't leave you. And that is a lie. And the reason for that, this is a note from one of my summary section. Anti-red pill and the purple pill are based on purity tests. I actually, when I did my thing about, did she cheat? How did you not meet the standards? It's a purity test. And for you Christians out there specifically, I want you to say this, and Nick will correct me if I'm theologically off base, but I don't think I am. The devil loves purity tests because he knows two facts. The first fact he knows is that no human is pure. Yeah. Okay. The second fact that he knows is that every human wants to believe that they are more pure than the other guy.
SOP for disaster.
Right. And so Satan can use those two facts to twist you into believing that because you have led a more pure life, that you will receive the more pure outcome. And let me tell you, men,
That's
just
like
not
health
true.
and wealth gospel. That's like the prosperity gospel, right?
It is.
It's
man.
it's actually the opposite.
But it's the same logic.
It's the same logic.
Maybe this is a cope that I have. But hear me out. No, the better the man you are, the more capable you are, the more that God loves you, the more he's going to test you. Because men learn by hardship and suffering. You never learn in the good times. And if you're capable, and he knows, and he has faith in you that you're capable, but, he's going to test you. He's going to allow you your free will. But sometimes the men who suffer the most are actually potentially, I like that, some of the better men. And the men who live those charmed lives, God does not throw anything more at them than they can bear. And if you're one of those strong men that can bear a lot, yeah, you know what? You might experience more. And the benefit is you might learn more.
Hey, guess what? I guess Christ wasn't pure enough. He wasn't man enough. That's why his friends betrayed him and forsook him. That's absolutely blasphemous, and I reject that. But I'm trying to apply that logic.
No, your logic, the logic that you're applying is sound and correct. I agree with you that it's blasphemy, and don't ever believe that.
Exactly.
But this is the problem of sophistry in general. Sophistry, when you are not applying the rigorous principles of logic, the Platonic principles, can lead you to create these logic loops that can be applied to anything, and they can be used to twist you into saying, doing, and believing blasphemy and heresy. And I don't know about you guys, but if that doesn't sound like what's happening right now in the culture and in the church, I don't know what it is. So when we talk about the new sophists, this is what we're talking about. To me, this is why I think that what we're doing, it's why I believe in this so much, but exposing these narratives, because you know what sophistry is? It's crafting a narrative and it's crafting a narrative that appeals to people. Okay? So if we get caught up in narratives, and if we are not applying rigorous principles of philosophical debate, of Platonic logic to this stuff, I'm sorry, you are going to get caught up in a logic trap, like Nick just said, where you can make a claim that Jesus was not man enough and have that perfectly fit with inside the logic you're dropping. And if you've gotten there, I'm sorry, you have failed. You have failed as a Christian. You do not understand the book you're claiming to live by. I don't know, Nick, am I being too over the top there?
No, I'm
No,
tracking
you're man, we're really forcing our listeners to think here.
I hope so.
Hey, if you don't want to think, don't listen to us. If you do want something to think about, and I think all Christian men should think, should be able to analyze things. If you don't agree with us, hey, great, listen to us. Because it'll cause you to think and hone your argument of disagreement. I consider that a success as well.
But you know what, Steve? If some of you guys out there disagree with what I said, I welcome you to come at me, debate me. I want to improve these ideas. I am not here for the sophistry. I'm not here to be right for the sake of me being right. I want the best ideas out there. And here's an idea that I've been cooking up for the past couple of weeks as we've been working through this. And I am going to steel man the anti-red pill position for you. Steel manning is a form of logical testing of we're going to test your logic here by putting it into a new situation. Now, for all of you out there, I know that in the red pill space and even in the anti-red pill space, there's a lot of pro 2A folks. So I'm going to use a 2A analogy here. Okay. If some crazed teenager picks up a long distance hole puncher and starts unaliving young people at a common gathering place for such people, what would we say about that person? We'd call that immoral. We'd call that evil. I think we can all agree with that. Now, let's say another person, another man, they're both men, also picks up a long-range hole puncher and goes in and unalives the person unaliving the young people. We would say that was a good, moral, and right thing to do. But
Yeah.
what does that say about the long-distance hole puncher? Nothing. That tool has no morality associated with it. The morality is in how you use it. Therefore, now to draw this back, guess what the red pill is? Uh-oh, Steve got a problem. The long distance hole puncher is the red pill. The red pill is a tool. It comes with a variety of different methods you can use to achieve the goal. You can use those methods for good or for evil.
Mhm.
And what you choose to do with the red pill only speaks to your personal morality. It does not speak to the morality of the red pill. And this is the mistake that everyone is making right now. It's why everyone has fallen into this trap of making it about men and men this and men not that.
It kind of fits with my car salesman analogy too.
Yeah,
There you go.
exactly. I just wanted something that was a little more graphic, but I still
There
have to
you
get
go.
past the YouTube censors. But
Yeah.
uh,
The
so
long
that's
distance hole puncher is the RP.
correct.
Okay.
I can use that long distance hole puncher to do some very, very evil things. Cardinal sins, or no, I forget the term for it. Mortal sins, right?
Yeah.
The things that you are, you're damned to hell for. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. You're not even going to, in the Catholic sense, you're not even going to hit purgatory. You're just going straight there. Okay. But you know what else that exact same tool can be used for? To stop the guy doing the evil. The tool is not evil. It's also not inherently good. It just is. It is up to you, the user of the tool, the user of the red pill, to determine what your personal morality tells you how you should use it.
So are you also saying that the red pill may be the solution to the situation we're in if we truly understand the nature of men and the nature of women?
Correct.
And okay, yes, they say, oh, this is evolutionary psychology or biology. Okay, yeah, truth can be there and it can affirm this. Doesn't mean it has the wholeness of truth, the whole body of truth. You can still support it by the Bible just because something else. If a Hindu says 2 and 2 equals 4, are we going to negate their logic because a Hindu said it and a Christian didn't say it? No, it's true over there. It's true here. So it's the same thing with evolutionary biology. It's another way of saying the same truth.
Right.
So,
And of course we
okay,
reject that.
you cannot get to a solution by discarding uncomfortable truths.
Can't be done. Like Nick, I think you said it this is a week ago or so. You can't learn how to weld aluminum, or maybe it was Steve. You can't learn how to weld aluminum from the Bible.
Or like the doctors, like,
Yeah.
well, the Bible doesn't say that that's my problem. It says sin. And so there you have these weird Christian groups actually they reject they actually advise you not to go to doctors, and like you could be dying, you could be going through heart failure or cancer or some really crazy disease, and you end up dying because, oh, well, the Bible doesn't tell me what I need to do about this
Yeah.
specific issue.
Isn't that the same thing? They're saying, oh, you're afflicted. You just need to pray better, pray harder. We'll pray over you, this, that, and then everything will be okay. Well, okay. Isn't that the exact same thing? You just need to wife up that woman and just be the good Christian man and pray and lead and love Jesus and all that. And it's all going to be okay. You don't need to know anything else because there is no more knowledge, because God loves you and he will just make it all work perfectly for you because the Bible says so. Where? Well, just trust me. The Bible says so.
Right. So
I'm not saying you shouldn't pray. I'm not
No,
saying you
no,
should
right.
read the Bible.
praying over a sick
I didn't
person
say
is a
that.
good thing to
Do
do.
it. Yeah. Right. You should do that. I encourage that. It just, maybe that might not be
Absolutely.
the
And as a
solution God's
Catholic,
providing.
I still believe in anointing of the sick. It's one of the sacraments. I still
Hey,
believe that.
Hey, you can also pray for the person unaliving people with the long distance thing, right? The long
Yeah, you
distance
can. You
thing.
can pray for
You
them.
can pray that,
Absolutely.
that be taken care of, but
Somebody's still got to go pick up the other hole puncher
hey,
and take care of it.
lightning could unalive that person, but that might not be the solution he provides you.
Right. He might have provided you with the skills and tools to go take care of it. Oh,
Right. Right. Right.
and so we have to be willing to study the world around us and understand it. Yes, you can put your Christian ideology, I'm going to use that word, over that. And you can use the Bible to understand the implications of what you're studying and classify it and help you to figure out what the morality of how you might respond to this or that. Those are all things the Bible can help you do. But the Bible is not it's not an instruction book for do X, Y, and Z, and the woman will never leave you.
No.
Man, where was that for
Right.
David? I mean, wasn't he a prophet too?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, how'd things work out for Hosea?
Mm.
Not so great.
Oh, and by the way, don't listen to Christians that take that example and advise you to do that. Run very far away. No.
So
Um,
are we done with this sophist topic now? Or is there going
I
to be a
hope
part?
so. No. We got where I wanted to go. The point is that both sides are engaged in sophistry against each other, and really the final point I have is knock it off with the beefing and drama, people. We're not here to win an argument and become the top dog. We're here to help men, to help build up other men, to help improve the world. And if you think that engaging in these sophistic debates over who has the better version of women don't have no agency, brah, you've lost the point. You're not helping. You're just sucking up oxygen uselessly. You know, get it together, get your head on right, and get in the game.
Yep. Do the work
We are not telling
and learn.
men what to think. because men have to learn how to think. And when men go through hardships, what's important to them is, hey, someone else has been here before me and gone through the same thing. They understand me. And they have some wisdom, because my situation might be similar, but it's not the same. I'm going to have to think my way through it. But you got to give them enough that they can think their way through it. So for those of you who want to attack us and say, well, you're wrong, they should do it this way. Okay. I think that's silly, because our goal is to help other men through this process, because I want to share my experiences. You can learn from me and start thinking, what are you going to do with your life? How can you navigate your difficulties? So why should we be fighting with other men if, I'm going to assume they have goodwill towards other people, and they're doing it for an altruistic purpose of helping others. So why are we attacking each other? That makes no sense.
Yeah. Knock it off with the beefing. You're not helping. And particularly because we're arguing over the dumbest shit possible. And the purpose of the argument at this point, at least from the perspective of the enemy, is to knock us out of talking about things that actually matter and get us talking about things that don't. We're all the red pill and the anti-red pill are making the same argument with the same broken logic, and they're just arguing over which direction the deck chairs on the Titanic should be oriented as we go down.
Oh, you mean you said the red pill and anti-red pill are making the same arguments? Do you really mean that, or is it the promiscuity side of the red pill?
Well, that's the sum total of the disagreement, and they're arguing over that one little corner of the red pill, using the exact same logic structure and the exact same argument.
That's what I agree with.
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, guys, you're not winning anything. You're not helping. And in fact, what you're doing, big picture, is tearing down. This is to the anti-red pill people. You are tearing down and destroying the only community that is out there trying to make the men that you say you want. God in heaven, what is wrong with you for trying to do that?
Yeah, and therefore we want to have good discussions with those who disagree with us. Let's resolve our disagreements and find our common purpose and move forward. You don't need the same purpose as me, because you have your purpose, I have my purpose, but our purposes can be parallel, they can be divergent, but they don't have to be in conflict.
Right. And to Timmy boy out there, go back and listen to what you actually said, because you're out here crying about how there are no strong men left in the very same stream that you attack the only group of men out there trying to make strong men. You complained about who's going to lift the heavy rocks to rebuild society. It's us. We're it. We are that group of strong men you're looking for. Quit throwing stones at us just because you don't like the truths that we're saying. You don't like our descriptions. And yeah, you also don't like our prescriptions. But that is the core of the sophistry that we are seeing right now. People are begging, pleading for these strong men to rise up. At the same time, they're throwing stones at the strong men trying to rise up. Come on.
And the men are actually rising up. There's a groundswell, grassroots, red pill are men rising up. Okay, and we're old. I'm older. Even Nick is older than the 20-somethings who are not marrying. And so you have a leadership class that's rising up. We're not perfect, but
Nope.
we're all you got. And yeah, okay, whoa, those are not the leaders that we want. Okay, okay, find your
better.
own.
Surpass us, please.
Yes, please do. I don't think the three of us would say that we are, some sort of white robed, clerics of the truth here. No,
No.
if you can find better leaders who can do that, but if your leaders out there throwing stones at the red pill because they don't like some minor facet of it, then they're probably engaging in sophistry. If the leader you're looking at can't really, they just can't accept it. They're kind of like Timmy Boy here, where he just can't accept the description, so he has to throw stones at it. Probably not a guy you need to be following. And I'm not saying Tim Pool's bad. He's got a lot of great takes on all sorts of culture war stuff. You can listen to him, but I think really the core point of this whole episode is learn to separate the good from the bad of each individual, not just person, but idea. You have the Bible. It will show you how to do that. It will give you the tools to do that. But until we can start doing that as a group, we're just going to keep we're just going to keep being monkeys slinging turds at each other.
Yeah, and there's another point that I just want to emphasize. You talked about Tim Pool. You criticized his ideas. Did you attack him personally?
Well, I called him Timmy Boy.
Yeah, okay, that's about as bad as it got. You can call a man an idiot, but you're really not attacking his character. You didn't attack his intentions. He may have good intentions.
I actually do believe he does.
Well, maybe. He might be just wrong. But
Sure.
you were attacking his ideas and what he was promoting. That was the focus of your attack.
Correct.
Okay, fair game. Yeah, if there's a little, wondering about his intentions, suspecting his intentions are not the best, calling him Timmy Boy, that's pretty mild stuff. If you're a man, you should be able to take that, because you got to recognize that the primary discussion was about his ideas, not about his person.
To be fair, I don't know him at all. I've just watched some of his stuff. Like, that's what I know of him, is what I've seen on YouTube. And so, I mean, personally, I look at that and I don't know you well enough to attack you personally. I can say all sorts of horrible things, but they'd just be made up. I don't know. I just don't like doing that because, frankly, I don't want people to do that to me.
Right. I'm used to it, though.
Well, as a guy, you get used to it because they're going to do it to you regardless of whether or not you do it to them. But that's a different problem for a whole different stream.
You know what? That's really the point here. They're gonna attack your person because they can't really argue with what you said or your ideas.
Right.
So that's where they become sophists. And it's an ad hominem. I can't debate with him on the ideas, so I'll destroy. Oh, yeah. I don't like the message, so I'm going to shoot the messenger.
I'll poison the well.
Yep. And the modern narrative construction is not significantly different than the sophists of the Greek days. So what's that
There's
old
really
saying?
new, nothing
Yeah.
new under the sun.
There it is. That's what I was looking for right there. There it is. There's
Yeah.
nothing new under the sun. But I have a feeling that we needed to that the culture doesn't understand that this is nothing new. So that's why we spent so much time on this. We had to do the concepts, we had to do the breakdown, and actually next week, provided a whole bunch of things go right on the back end on the production side, my dad will be on, and he had an idea based on the stuff that we've been talking about.
You mean next week or this Wednesday?
Sorry, Wednesday. No, next
Wednesday.
show. This Wednesday.
Next show. Yeah.
You caught me. You're right. This Wednesday, my dad will be on to discuss an idea that he had about looking forward, where does this stuff end? If we don't intervene and stop it, really. Steve, I've already talked to him about some of his ideas on this as well. So it's going to be this one's going to be a little more wild than usual. Probably no clips or anything, just 4 dudes talking. But
it's a thought exercise on
those are fun.
Where this could go. Now, I think, we've already agreed that probably won't go that far, but it's a thought exercise in an ideal world that's planned, and the powers that be or whoever, where are they taking us in their vision, in their perfect world? I don't think it's going to end there, but it's a thought exercise.
Yeah. As we say, we're not here to tell you what to think or how to think it. We're just here to give you some ideas to think about. And so next week is going to be, next Wednesday. Keep confusing my W's. Next Wednesday is 2 days from now. I will be here with my dad. We're gonna roll through this. I have no idea what's up for next Monday because I've been so busy getting this stuff all prepped up and whatnot. So,
Steve, aren't you doing Monday?
It has not been assigned yet, but it's about to confirm because I've been posting a few shows now. I've been posting. I have not had to do it. Yeah, I think it's my turn.
Well, next Wednesday, not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday, it'll be What is Love?
Oh my.
Yeah.
Are we going to get sappy in here?
Yeah.
I doubt it.
It'll be challenging. I'll probably challenge some stuff on the red pill, and then in some ways agree with it.
All right. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. I'll come up with something just absolutely awesome for next Monday. I don't know what it is yet, though.
All right. Well, hey, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe if you like what you heard. But really, this episode probably more than I don't know. We've done a couple episodes that we really wanted to get shared. This is one of the ones that we really want to get shared and get out there.
There's an interesting thing. I don't know if we are just prescient and can predict the future.
Don't think so.
Because whatever we talk about kind of seems to actually percolate out, and you have other shows talking about the same stuff. For example, the book Practical Female Psychology for the Practical Man. I shared that a couple of weeks ago. Then we did a show on that on Saturday on Elena's channel and quoted some. Do you know what? Rule 0, I think it was
Yeah.
Rule 0 talked about that. And you know what? We are on topic.
Yeah,
And I'm
we're
glad
not
we're on
planning it.
topic.
We're not planning it. And I can promise we're not coordinating with them. I can promise you that much.
And-
But
And
I
if
think,
they're, go ahead.
well, I was just saying, I think that I think people are starting to all come to the same realizations that we are. And look, we're a small channel. We know that. 38 subscribers is, a few people are going to see what we have to say. But I think that people are starting to come to the realizations, and people kind of come to a realization as a group. Call it providence, if you will. As I said, we don't coordinate with Rule 0. They probably don't even know we exist. But if they do, hey, shout out to you guys. Thank you for taking our ideas and running with them, if that's what you're doing. If not, you know what? Glad to be on the same page.
Hey, go ahead. Take what we're saying, use it.
Make it better, please.
Hey, that's our goal, to get these ideas out here, to generate ideas and discussion. And yeah, you're free to use whatever we put out here. Good for you.
We're not threatened. We're not threatened by it. Same thing with leaders. We want better leaders. So that's a good mark of good leaders, is they're not threatened by people that develop around them, or they seem to be better than them at certain things, or better overall. They see that as a good thing.
A great leader will take those people and place them in the place they can be most effective. If you're worried about somebody coming up and usurping you, well, you're probably not a good or effective leader.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all we have for today, folks. Any final thoughts, last words?
I think we covered it.
All right. Well, then we will see you on Wednesday for a very special episode with my senior, my dad. All right, guys.
Okay.